guys, and welcome to Give Up to Game podcast series. I am your host, T Solo. Tonight is our first of this series. I'm excited to have you all here. So shout out to you guys for joining me. Like and subscribe to the channel, please, for more updates on the series. Give Up to Game is the name of the series. So I am your host, T Solo. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I'm gonna give you a quick introduction. I am originally from Portland, Oregon. About 10 years ago, I moved to Sacramento, California. While in Sacramento, California in 2019, I started an organization called Free to Be. It was a Black inclusive organization, which included the LGBT and the Black community counterparts, bringing us together. I did not understand the need as a Black lesbian woman to be segregated based on my sexuality. I did not understand why, in order to go hang out, I needed to go to gay events or stay away from straight events. And so what I did was made a safe space for Black folks of all sexualities who identify as whatever. So within that organization, I hosted a multitude of events. I did auctions, I did game nights, I did pool parties, we did meet and greets. And with that, we also made sure to give back to the community. So every time we did a fun event, we turned around and did something that was community based. We had the opportunity to do a family day in the park in which we were able to feed 250 people at no cost to them, based with our donations from the community and money out of our pocket. We were able to buy jumpers for the kids to be in the park. We held relay races. We even had one of our local photographies, shout out to Ricky Banks Photography, for coming out and doing family photo shoots in the park that day as well. For Christmas, we also held a homeless drive in which we were able to give out 170 hygiene bags to unhoused people. Shout out to Tracy Bingham and her son Dwayne, who came out that day also and fed over 70 people with cornbread, chili, white rice, and drinks for the homeless people that day. Just dedicated their Christmas holiday to giving back to the community. And those are the things that I like to do and I like to remember. And in that spirit, I will also say that I am a very active member of the Sacramento chapter of Black Lives Matter. A lot of you guys have probably seen me on press releases. Some of you guys have probably seen me in the news, at marches, on the horn. You may have seen my daughter at the rallies chanting as well. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart, being able to stand as an ally with families who have been affected by police brutality. That is something that, in our community, it needs to be a bigger issue and it needs to end. So activism is in me. It ain't on me, y'all. You may have seen me on the mic at events. I'm also an MC. If you've ever been blessed to be at a turn up that I was hosting, you know it's a vibe. It's a vibe all the time. I'm gonna come in and do what needs to be done. That's something that I love to do. Again, I am a personality that likes to give back. That's a way for me to give back. I have a spirit that is full, and being able to get on the mic and give back into a room full of people, that's a way for me to give back into the community, and I love doing that. What else? The most recent thing, in the middle of the pandemic, when events started to slow down, I began to promote more Black businesses, and eventually I ended up with my own Black business. I became the owner and CEO of Tees Treasure Chest. If you guys know Tees is an adult novelty shop. I have been running that business for 3.5 years as a sole owner. I have also been able to host events as well. A lot of people hear about Tees Treasure Chest and think, freaky and yada yada, but I also like to pride myself on the bedroom education, especially within our community, the Black community, where we are taught so many things are not for us or nasty or beyond our scope. I like to give back, especially because we all know my favorite thing to say is that is where your highest manifesting energy is. That is where the power to give and create life comes in. At why are we not dressing it up? We as Black folks are known to dress up everything in our lives. We buy jewelry, we get our hair done, we buy shoes. Why are we not investing back into the most sacred space in our lives, the most the highest power space in our lives, and that's our bedroom. So if you haven't had a chance to check out T's Treasure Chest, check out the link on the screen, y'all. T'sTreasureChest.com. I got some good deals for y'all. Stay tuned as we have a quick word from our sponsor.
What's good, viewers? It is Portia the Poet with Lyrical Healing and the Ascension Portal, and we are proud sponsors of Give Up to Gain. This all-inclusive event space is geared towards community, gatherings, and healing. Yes, we have a massage therapy space upstairs brought to you by the Ascension Portal, including massage therapy and all of your spiritual advisory and healing needs. This event space is geared towards community, family, gatherings, and creative spaces. We have artwork, an additional room in the front of the venue space for your use. The events are exclusive. They are stellar. You don't want to miss anything we got going on. Hey, and if you want to book your own event and put together your own gathering, tap in. Family, community, creativity. We bring you the vibes, the most intentional platform there is. You have Lyrical Healing and the Ascension Portal. Make sure you guys tap in, book now, not later. We can't wait to share space with you guys. And once again, you got to give up to gain. Peace.
Thank you for your patience. Now back to the podcast. So, and that brings me here today to the podcast. Now, in the midst of everything that I have going on, I have come to realize that honestly, everything has come to a head to show me that I have a voice. I have a voice that people will listen to. I have a voice that's also marketable. And in everything that I've done, albeit, as fulfilling as it has been, I don't feel like it has come into purpose for me, right? But outside of just having a voice, I also have a story. If you follow me on social media, you may have heard bits and pieces of my story. And so this is an opportunity not only for me to tell my story, but to allow other people to tell theirs as well. And in that, not only will we be sharing stories, but we're going to be taking something away from this. We're also going to be growing in this moment. Give up to gain. Giving up means letting things go. A lot of times in our lives, we're taught not to let things go. A lot of times people tell us to keep going, keep trying. That relationship, hold on to it. Those sentiment, that family member, hold on, don't let go. Sometimes we subconsciously teach ourselves not to let go because of traumas that we've experienced in our own lives. Don't let go because we never know when we're going to get it again, right? But if we ever listen to Erykah Badu's song, Bag Lady, You Gonna Hurt Your Back, we know that some shit we got to let go, right? We have to let some things go in order to be open to accepting new things. We have to let some things go in order to progress. We have to let some new things go in order to unburden ourselves and move into our future, right? And so that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, all of those good things that I said, that I mentioned before about where I've been and the endeavors that I've embarked on, I want to let you guys know I am not college educated. I want to let you guys know life has not been a piece of cake. There's no silver spoon being handed out to me. Life has been life. For real, okay? I am not ashamed about my history. I will tell you guys very freely my history. I am a 3-time convict. I've been to prison 3 times in my life. I will tell you that I am a single mother of 3. I am a domestic violence survivor. I am a rape survivor. I'm an adoptee. I was adopted at birth. So in this, I believe that there are a lot of things that when I look back, I had to realize that I had to let go to finally get to the place where I could grow, where I could get to all of those great things that I mentioned, right? So being an adoptee, let's start there. It was already hard for me in my life to let go of anything because I started out life with nothing. Nobody belonged to me. Nothing belonged to me. I was reminded all the time that this ain't my family. These aren't my people. I don't look like them. I don't belong here. I don't fit in. You know what I'm saying? So growing older, what did I do? I held on to any and everybody that was willing to accept me. And because I was already a very valuable person, even though I didn't recognize it. Everybody could see it in me. The wrong people grabbed onto me, right? And so while they were grabbing onto me, I was grabbing onto them and holding on and not wanting to let go, which put me in situations that I didn't need to be in, that I didn't have to be in, which put me in prison, right? Which put me in single motherhood, right? And of all of that stuff, I held on to every piece along the way. I held on to, being rejected. I held on to, not being good enough. I held on to being fat. I held on to being insecure. I held on to not having family. I held on to not belonging. I always held on to everything that I heard and what people said to me and the way people made me feel, right? And it's crazy because, to be honest with you, it wasn't until my last time in prison that I learned how to let go. I had gone to prison, like I said, 3 times, and I was sitting in, to be honest with you guys, I was sitting in a cell. I was on suicide watch. And I was sitting in a cell in a smock, and a counselor came to me and she presented me with a book. And the book was called There's Nothing Wrong With You, right? And I read through this book, and it talked about the conditioning that we're given in life, the kind of plate that we're handed to us in life that we don't even recognize that we began to eat off of. And so we're taught that we are all of these things, and we never pay attention to the fact that we have a choice whether we're scooping this into our mouth. We have a choice whether we're ingesting these things. We have a choice whether we're going to believe these things to be true for ourselves or not. We're just eating what we're given, right? So in order to let go of that, you have to uncondition, unravel, spit up, throw up, all of those things that you've taught yourself and allow society to teach yourself about yourself, and then learn who you really are. Learn who it is that you want to be. Mold and sculpt yourself into that person, right? So that's where my letting go began. That's where my giving up began. I began to give up the opinions of other people. I began to give up the self-hate that people gave me because they didn't like me, because they didn't believe in me, because of, all of these different things that are going wrong with them. I began to give it up. And in giving that stuff up, I freed myself to be open to the things that I really felt about myself, the things that I really wanted for myself. And that is when I was able to make a change. That was when I was able to reroute myself. That is when I stopped going to prison. That was when I became open to fulfilling the things that I needed to fulfill for myself, for my life, for my children. That is when the biggest change happened for me in my life. And I was just so excited, you guys. I can't even lie about it. It was so freeing. And a lot of times people were so upset with me because they're like, oh, you're too honest, or you're too this, or people would get mad because I was no longer that people pleaser, right? I was coming into my own. I was doing my own thing. I knew who I was. You can no longer tell me. You can no longer move me. I'm no longer moving in your need of me, right? I'm moving in the need for myself. I need me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super grateful I was super grateful for the opportunity and the revelation, because sometimes everybody doesn't have the foundation to be able to accept those things, right? I watched a lot of women who were in prison and went back to back even more times than me. 3 times sounds like a lot. I saw women go back 5 times, 7 times, 10 times, because they couldn't understand that they had to let some shit go. You can't just say, I'm going to change, and then get out and do the same thing and live in the same in the same mindset, right? So then moving forward, I'm out of prison, right? What do? I'm a blank slate on the same streets. I'm open and susceptible to the same shit. I'm open and susceptible to the same people coming and leaving their mark on me, right? No, now I remove my surroundings. I move myself, because I already know what's going to happen. I already know that I'm a blank book waiting to be written on, and I get to write my own truth. I get to write the narrative for myself. I'll tell the story about even coming into sexuality for me. A lot of people ask me about my kids and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I was raised in the church. My mom was a pastor. I was ordained a minister at a very young age. I was not raised in a household or even in a society immediately that was conducive to black folks being gay. I never saw that. You know what I'm saying? And so when I knew that that's who I was scared. I didn't want nobody to know. I didn't want nobody to judge me. I didn't want to hear nobody's mouth. You know what I'm saying? And so when I had this revelation, right, I went to somebody very close to me, and I told them, and they told me, oh, if that's what you want to do, that's your business, but just don't go be one of them bull dykes. Well, I was on my way, y'all. I already had the braided Clio straight bags. I was ready, y'all. So then I began to live in that. You know what I'm saying? And I finally realized, like, no, I'm watching this person live their life happily while I'm sitting here in a shell, you know what I'm saying, doing my makeup and my hair, because I feel like this is what I have to do to appease to this person who ain't living their life for me. No, let it go. Let it go. If I'm letting it go, I'm letting it all go. And if they fall off with it, then they got to go too. Because guess what? They're nothing but baggage. Bag lady, I ain't gonna hurt my bag. These titties big enough, y'all. I can't carry nobody else. At the end of the day, it all has to go. And I only bring that up to mention that there is nothing too big or too small that you might need to let go, to grow, to gain, to get to where it is that you need to be happy in your life and for yourself, right? So as we move into this podcast and you guys begin to see myself come on here and speak to you guys and the people that I am going to be interviewing for you guys to hear a word from, I want you guys to understand this is a podcast for the people, okay? I want you guys to take something away from this every time. Even if it's not, the story may not be relatable to you, it might give you some insight on somebody that you're dealing with in your life. Everybody that you see on here is going to be very real people from very different backgrounds, and I guarantee you every story you hear is going to be very authentic, and they are going to have something to tell you about how they had to give up something in order to get where they needed to be in their life, whether it was through a toxic relationship, whether it was to college, whether it was through motherhood, whether it was through fatherhood, whatever it be, to get to where they needed to go into that next step. We have to remember, you guys, that there are things that in this world that we need to let go to gain. All right? So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned to this podcast series. I appreciate y'all for joining me tonight, and I will see y'all next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Give Up to Gain podcast series. We will be back next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tap in.